if you were surrounded by people who could hear your thoughts and you wanted to hide the fact that you're planning something, what would you think about maybe something a little more innocuous or inauspicious than just repeating your own name over and over again, establishing a pattern of behavior that you're hiding something?
Well, first off, 1 year before that, I would establish the fact that I do wear a bucket. Assuming then that all the thoughts would just ricochet off the inside of the bucket. And
it's nothing to do with the thoughts.
No.
It's just a bucket choice.
Yeah.
Okay? I need you to respect this about me.
Look, do you want to drill eye holes in it? No, I don't. I've made this choice. And you'll soon see why, and then they'll wait long enough for it to become just frankly boring for everybody, including the listeners of this podcast. And then
look, you're not wearing the bucket yet, and I can plainly see the noise around your head saying that it is because of the noise that I want to wear this bucket.
Yeah, and then but they'll be like, yeah, well, look, fair enough. He's a weak boy. He's not an alpha like us. And just leave him for his bucket, and then you walk around for a year with little thoughts of, oh, I love this bucket. I really love my bucket. And then, when it's time to do a crime or whatever it is that you proposed at the beginning of this question,
doing a crime.
Then it would just be all I could be thinking about was bucket. I love this bucket, but it wouldn't be out of the ordinary because I spent a year like carb loading this thought.
Fuck, this is good. I love this bucket.
I love my bucket.
You'd have to do it during conversations with other people, though.
Yes.
But especially when you're being interrogated to establish that this is just what you do. Okay, do you want mayonnaise on that? I love this bucket. I love this bucket. Do you want mayonnaise with this? Bucket. Hang on a minute. Why are you wearing the bucket if they can still hear you thinking bucket?
Well, because I imagine like the thoughts they echo and like reverberate around the bucket and would spill out the bottom of it.
You basically amplified yourself.
Sort of, but it's like it's like even if people think it's because of the thoughts and it doesn't work, then that's an extra win for me because they think I'm literally an idiot.
And that's all I ever wanted people to think.
Yeah, and really all I've done is focus my thoughts in a constructive way that will be more useful than the way I have to do it to pretend that I'm normal now.
And I think that's the real adventure at the heart of this story.
Come with me.
A story of buckets. A legacy of buckets. That is very bad at hiding its noise. I'm Paul Hewitt.
I'm Love Chores.
We are just about to emerge gasping and screaming from the sludgy mire of 2021 into the relative comfort of the Recommendations Month Island after a brief trip in the Good Ship Great Movie.
Looking forward to that.
But before we try and make sense of any of that I just said,
Phew.
It's time for one last gulp.
Yeah.
Remember the metaphor? Familiar? It's Doug Liman's dystopian action thing, Chaos Walking.
Yeah.
Whoa, stop! Don't come any closer.
It's a girl.
Girl. Oh my gosh, girl. I'm sorry.
No blonde hair.
I've just never seen a girl before.
Who are you?
It's so loud here.
We call it the noise. Happened to all the men on this planet. Every thought in our heads were on display.
Starting life as a young adult novel called The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. The first version of the script was actually developed by Charlie Kaufman.
Interesting. And then he went on to write Being John Malkovich, too. Being John Malkovich.
Went back and wrote that.
Yeah.
Being John's Malkovich. He then he left the project, presumably just because it was too weird and depressing what he produced. And 6 people rewrote the script, including Ness himself.
All at once, hopefully.
They grabbed a page each. They were writing onto the same page together. It was very much like that book by J.J. Abrams. Just absolute mess. Robert Zemeckis was in talks to direct, but dropped out.
Okay.
So Bourne Identity, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Jumper and Edge of Tomorrow director Doug Liman took the helm.
Yeah, I saw his IMDb page after watching this movie and went, oh, it's varied in one way and in one way not.
Yeah, in one way it's very, very consistent.
Yeah, but in terms of quality, it's definitely...
He's definitely stumbled onto
a man on a trampoline.
Here and there. A man with a paintbrush on a trampoline, just trying his best at the Sistine Chapel. And there were bits pretty uncanny early on when he had the energy. The film required extensive reshoots after poor test screenings, like all those classic movies where that worked great.
Yep. Never test screen. Fuck.
Never test
screens.
It's just worst
only time
idea.
you should invite people in for a test screening is when there's not a film in the room, but just a giant thresher.
Gotta wipe out anyone who would agree to this process.
Yeah.
What if Deadly Illusions had a test screening? What would our feedback have been? Can you make it good? Make it crazier. Go back and use all of the takes you thought you shouldn't use.
I need more yays.
Just constant. I need it constantly in the soundtrack. I need drum and lace to accommodate it into the score.
So we know that drum and lace are always turned on, which we knew already.
Oh god, yeah.
But other people.
This did delay the release because Tom Holland was busy doing a Spider Guy.
Oh, that's selfish. Daisy
Ridley was filming Star Wars.
A Star Wars.
A Star Wars. She was being Rey Star Wars in the hit film Space Jam. But critics reacted to the film like, Snake! Instant, Barry Hertz at the Globe and Mail said, for any filmmaker contemplating their own YA franchise, who doesn't at some point or another?
We all do. We all think, this is easy.
If you are doing that, Chaos Walking is an instructive anti-manual. For the rest of us, it's just noise. I love an anti-manual, Paul.
Yeah.
Are you sure we're following the instructions here? Yes, look. Oh, for fuck's sake. I knew it. Why do they keep it in the box, Susan?
I hate this new turn that IKEA have taken. Because it's all in Swedish.
In there. You've just
all the
got
names
to
are
look
Swedish.
carefully.
Yeah.
It's just you've got to follow the pictures and hope that you're not following the anti-manual. Never right.
If you're a true workman, you would know, but obviously,
Obviously you're not.
Not even betas. Don't know anything.
Public, on the other hand, well, it has an Avenger in it, so... But also, it has a Star Wars from one of the cuck generations of films.
Yeah.
So,
can't have everything.
Probably mixed results. You can't have everything. One of the people who couldn't have everything was Aditya Sayan.
Oh, God.
Aditya Sayan, I'm going to say, on Google in his or her 5-star review, described it as a very great weekend journey, which will surely make an impact if you don't get your hopes so high and watch it simply as a movie.
Okay, well,
watch it as a movie,
sage
Paul.
advice.
Just watch it as a movie. You know movies are shit.
Yeah.
Watch it like one of those.
Oh, okay. I've been expecting it to cure COVID and also balance the geopolitical chaos.
It was just not a practical COVID measure, unfortunately. No. We've tried it. It was rolled out nationwide. Boris Johnson backed it very fully.
We tried screaming our thoughts as if unbidden. And it didn't work.
Holy shit, is this whole thing a metaphor for Twitter? It might be. Stick around, folks.
Yeah.
As was foretold 2 episodes ago, dear, sweet little gentle Tom Holland is already a threeman.
Oh.
At this tender time in his life, when he's least able to deal with it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he was in Doolittle.
Yeah. He wasn't the stick insect, was he? He was a mouse or something.
I don't even give a shit.
Fucking rat.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a shame. I love that boy.
I love that boy. He's a beautiful, sweet boy, and he's never been the worst thing in any of the movies he's done, so he's got a long way to go. He's just got to pick...
And do you even like one of them? I mean...
kind of like one of them.
Well, yeah, that's true. I was about to invoke Vampire's Kiss, but that's probably not at that level.
Yeah, let's not get carried away. I'm a vampire.
Did quite like that film, though.
Oh, I do quite like that film. This film has 22% on Rotten Tomatoes, 38% on Metacritic, and 5.8 on IMDb. It also apparently made $21 million on a $100 million budget, which is bad enough for us to be aware of it here in Hell Year, where everything fails. This is a remarkable failure.
Everything is bad and people are bad. Including
Movies can't make money.
Yeah.
And yet this made especially less money than the movies that can't make money.
I'm just thinking about Cherry now, Paul, and I thought it was pretty good. Maybe I'll just shittily say something every time you say that he's a threeman. Yeah, he's not.
I'm gonna say it a lot, mate. Once somebody's a threeman, that's pretty much all I say about them for the rest of the episode.
Oh, free to a man, free in the bush, free, yo. Films are shit, mate.
It's true. You've been gunning for making me a threeman for a long time.
You've been in at least 3 of these episodes. I've gone back. I've counted.
This is the trick at home. The trick audience at home. He hasn't realised this yet, but I'm 229 minimum.
Look, the thing is, look, if you're listening, Nicolas Cage, you've got to become so ubiquitous that we don't notice you. Try and appear in every movie we cover, and we'll just stop counting.
It's worked for me.
So, Paul, you orphan runt.
Yes. I hate you.
What's one thing about Chaos Walking that made your shit red?
It's the inner thoughts thing. It's worked better than a voiceover. That's one, that's for sure.
It was an interesting way of building narration into the narrative.
I hated it initially, and then after about 10 minutes, I just got used to it. Twitter? What?
Oh shit. Well, we've got a lot to talk about there. But yes, the premise of the movie is we're on a planet where it's all men, or so it seems, in this village, and they can hear each other's thoughts and kind of see them projected as a colourful noise projected around their heads.
Yes, it's referred to as the noise.
Yes.
Shut up. Control your noise. Control your noise. I am Todd Hewitt. I am Todd Hewitt. I am Todd Hewitt. Think of something else. Think of something different. Think of birds.
You are.
Preacher.
To dust you will return.
Why is the preacher here? You don't even need a preacher. Nobody goes to church anymore.
Judgment.
Shit, he heard me.
Some are better at controlling it than others. And Tom Holland's in it.
Yeah, threeman Tom Holland is here. And he's here to tell us about how much he loves that knife.
Love that knife.
And also, it appears that this is his first day being telepathic, because he kindly explains to us that other people can hear what he's thinking. And it's also his first day on this planet, because he gets to point out that, hey, as you know, all of the women are gone.
Weak like a woman.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know. Never seen a real woman before. They're all gone.
Hey, look, Paul, you and the reviews are really revealing to me what a fucking mess my brain is. Because it's pretty much my thought pattern does mimic somebody who's having their first day on Earth.
Shit. You literally just go mad. Well, here I am, Paul Goodman, waking up in my flat in Melbourne. And now I'm going to go.
Sometimes I have to say, hey, Paul, remember, you're not in England anymore. And it's okay.
And you stop screaming and put the knife down.
I love that knife.
You fucking love that knife, dude. But look, this is all happening on Tom Holland planet. Threeman Tom Holland planet. But up in space, on a spaceship.
Oh my god,
let's get to know this seemingly much more advanced civilization and some of the characters, and all dead.
All dead, you say?
All dead. To shreds, you say. Just Daisy Ridley survives.
Yeah, against all odds.
Tell us about Holland's hometown.
Holland's hometown. It's a bit of a rural analog nightmare where everyone's a man.
A little fucking slice of Americana.
Yeah, and everyone is scared that everyone else can read their thoughts and know that they're actually weak. It's a crazy foreign dystopia that we have no relation to whatsoever.
I can't relate to it.
No, there's a crazy priest played by
guy,
David Oyelowo.
Yes.
And there's the mayor, Mads Mikkelsen, who's played by Mads Mikkelsen, and his son, who's played by one of the Jonas Brothers, and he's angry for obvious reasons.
It's obvious reasons. We wouldn't be.
I mean, just look at him.
Yeah.
And so they're all there.
Yeah.
There's basically every interaction they have is I can read your thoughts.
Oh, shit.
I know you're weak.
Yeah.
I'm not weak. Look at this thought. And then the mayor has to come in and say, come on, break it up, everyone.
It's Shoveler Hewitt and his dumb dog.
Thinks he's a man, but he's never killed a thing. Now watch him notice.
Don't let him see that it hurts.
I can hear everything you're thinking, you dumb shit.
Jesus ass.
Shit. The mayor. Shit.
I'm not weak. I'm thinking about a bear right now.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
Wish I could fuck that bear. Oh.
No, you ruined it.
Yeah.
Shit. But yes, the plane crashes, and apparently it happened a while ago because she's managed to produce graves, or she's a really good digger.
She could be a really good digger. You don't know what you have to learn on that spaceship that she was born on.
Yes, having never interacted with her, she found it very intuitive. Oh, she's just a fucking Mary Sue.
Yeah.
She can dig graves really well, suddenly.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, well, what's the point of you in having this story? She's already perfect. She is pretty much perfect because she sees Tom Holland approaching a man and runs. And
yeah, she's freaked out by the fact that she can see his thoughts, which is not something that happened on the spaceship. But she ends up getting captured with the assistance of Tom Holland, I think. He helps them capture her.
Yeah,
kind of accidentally.
Yeah.
Whoops. So she gets interviewed by Mayor Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Who has some questions and some things to explain, which probably is where we should have been learning about this rather than Tom Holland thinking it earlier, but never mind. Analogs, who needs them? Yeah, he asks her a question, and then she just kind of sits there quietly, and he says,
You'll have to actually speak. The knife didn't affect the women, remember? Can't hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I was just pausing meaningfully.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm really, really not used to not being able to see what people are thinking.
Yeah, we genuinely never had this before. Not for a while, anyway. Not since.
We haven't had an awkward silence in literally decades.
Because all the women are gone. The aliens on this planet killed them all. They rounded them up.
Oh,
and killed them. And
yes, the evil aliens, the spackle.
But yeah,
it was a disgruntled decorator who wrote this.
Disgruntled YA author.
The evil remains of the terrible Ron Seal Empire and their stupid bullshit prizes.
This was a YA novel that was originally a kid's novel. He changed everything except for that. But anyway, they are super dangerous. Don't worry about them, though.
Oh, yeah.
We are not going to round that up nicely.
No, in fact, we can save that for the sequel we're probably definitely going to get.
Yeah. So
hey, where's the mayor's son? We haven't seen him since the beginning.
Here I am, says Nick Jonas. Let me try and, I don't know, whatever YA coding is for raping Daisy Ridley, I guess, or trying to.
Oh, he's going to hassle her a bit,
yeah.
I think. That's what you get. He's going to push her around until she cries.
Yeah, but he sets off one of her gizmos. Mads Mikkelsen has gone off to look for something, and whatever. And he sets off one of the gizmos.
He left the oven on.
Yeah, and it blows some holes in the fucking hut. And Nick Jonas is crying, which is more than Mads Mikkelsen can take. But rather than thrash the boy in front of everybody like he should, he decides to help, get his help hunting this girl down.
Yeah, not before. He explains his scheme a bit for the benefit of anyone who might be listening in, which is a Daisy Ridley in this instance.
Yeah.
He explains that, luckily for all of us, Earth is sending its biggest ship over to this planet with all of its crew in hypersleep, and also the keys are in the ignition and the doors are unlocked. So we've got to get that
thing. The password is 1234. Which
it's always has
which
been.
Is the president's birthday, weirdly, coincidentally. It's like two reasons why they shouldn't have had that as the passcode, but they did.
President password.
President password 1 exclamation mark. And well, he has to explain it, Paul, because he doesn't ever, he controls his noise. He doesn't ever let his thoughts appear. Unless he can mind control people?
Just about. And summon up obstacles and stuff that are made out of thoughts and dreams.
I mean, that's populism.
So, she runs away. They hide her in the barn. That's Tom Holland and his two dads.
Yeah.
They hide her in the barn. But then Mads Mikkelsen shows up and Tom Holland can't help but think about the barn and also the word barn really loudly a lot of times. And so there's a scuffle. Daisy Ridley gets away on a bike that's just about slower than a horse.
Yeah.
And one of Tom's dads gets shot.
Yeah.
And basically it ends up with Mads Mikkelsen and crew, including Tom Holland's other dad, hunting after them whilst they're travelling through the woods on foot in order to get to a place where she can be safe. Far Branch, and where she hopes that she'll be able to send a message of warning to the ship where everybody's asleep.
Yes. There's probably one person there, like a janitor, Mike,
who's probably
routinely
Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, routinely sees the voicemail message, deletes it, and then I'll check again tomorrow.
Not my problem. If it's important, they'll call a 59th time.
A lot of things happen here. The dads tell Tom Holland that he has to go to Far Branch. A horse dies.
No.
Yeah, I know. This is the YA. It covers some tricky stuff.
Yeah.
But now they're off on foot.
They are off on foot, and they have some awkward interactions in as much as Tom Holland can't stop thinking about her and how great she is.
Yeah.
And that's a difficult thing for her to get used to. Not too difficult, though. She mostly just ignores it.
Yeah.
Took 64 years to get from Earth to here. I mean, you don't look 64 years old. Yellow hair. Pretty. Really pretty. Please ignore that.
You'd have to.
You would fucking have to, but not when he imagines them having a big old snog. And, which causes her to get very upset, so he goes off to fall asleep and have a luckily very wholesome dream about her playing with his dog.
Could have fucking been anything, mate.
It could have been fucking wild.
If you leave it a minute longer, he'd start fucking the dog. It would have Daisy Ridley's face, and then it would be his dad.
Look, I need you to understand a guy called Freud, okay? If you're going to go just seeing everybody's thoughts.
God, he could have been God in this world.
So, yeah, they fight an alien and then they get to fucking Farscape, or whatever it was called.
Straight to Farscape Ranch.
Straight to Farscape. And we explore the full horror of what if the southern United States had colonized space.
Yeah.
Scratchy fiddles heard throughout the universe. Don't take too kindly to Jupiter Station folks around here.
Yeah, it's awful. It is really bollocks, isn't it? But there are women here, and there's a woman sheriff, so it's a crazy future.
Yeah.
And but here Tom Holland learns that in fact, all the women's of his settlement,
every women's
were killed by the men's, because surprisingly, the men didn't like the fact that the women could hear their thoughts, and even more surprisingly, they got angry about it.
Yeah, and eventually decided to kill all the women. I wonder what the timeline of that was.
Monday to Tuesday.
I can only imagine if women were forced to listen to all male thoughts around them all the time, it would just eventually be a mass suicide.
You think that would just be the twist? It was actually that it was suicide and the men couldn't face up to the shame, so they pretended they killed them.
I can't hear the fucking Match of the Day theme song again.
We don't
I don't want to hear it either, okay?
I just keep thinking about football. I miss it, all right? Giggsy, Wigsy, all the rest.
Old Linners and his crisps. Miss it. So look, Mickelson says a line that could really have done with one more take to the preacher.
This judgment of yours doesn't kill all of us and spare only you.
There is tension growing between Mickelson and Preacher because Preacher's a bit of a mental. Yeah.
He's a proper mental.
He's a proper mental compared to all the other mental people in this little society.
Yeah.
There's a standoff between the people of Far Branch and, I went for funny, and I think I just got quite close to what it actually is. Shit.
It's Prentisstown, isn't it? That's the name of the
Mickelson Village.
Mickelson, yeah. Mickleville. Pretty good.
Maz Mickleville shows up, and there's a tense standoff, and then some dude gets exploded. Holy shit, let's not use that thing again.
Yeah, please, that'll ruin everything. The plot.
One of the people of Farscape, Ewan McGregor, decides that he's going to try and trick Daisy Star Wars into giving herself up. But he just can't resist thinking about how betraying her is going to be great. And it's really good.
Billy sent me. I'll get the girl.
And so
high five,
she
everyone.
off-screen overpowers him and takes his gun.
Yeah.
She figures it out.
She got this. She's fine. She's had proper training. She didn't waste her time learning how to dig graves. She knew that already. She's not an idiot.
She knew that would come naturally and perfectly.
Yeah. Anyway, time for them to escape. They almost do, and then they're surrounded in the barn. And then Ben, I think, is his
Tom Holland's surviving dad. Gets sent
Uncle
in.
Ben.
But
Ben.
unfortunately, threeman Peter Spider-Man knows the truth now, which is that they got rid of the women because they were awful and they hated them.
Yeah.
And so he decides to make the ultimate sacrifice and Luke Skywalker everyone a bit.
Yeah.
Fans are going to hate that.
Yeah, I know.
They make a projection of Ridley in order to
Astral
distract
projection.
everyone.
Yeah, and
Astral projection.
And it falls Mads Mikkelville, and he says, "Do you know who I am? I'm Mads fucking Mikkelville, mate."
Is that who you are? You sure, mate? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Well, anyway, that's that done. They continue running to Haven.
Oh, but look, Preacher has brought a horse to a boat fight, but he gets on pretty well. He's able to kill Baxter the dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it was a sinner, I guess.
I mean, I guess. He's a pretty fucked up dude.
Probably. Yeah. They find the remains of the proposed Ogdenville monorail, and so camp out there for a bit and have some character moments. They think about the dog.
Yeah.
And decide that they can follow it to Haven, where she'll find the ancient Wi-Fi.
Yeah. You got the Dongle Macguffin close to his chest, which means his balls. And they stumble across a fucking wreckage of a ship without the use of a
without the fucking modern,
wayfinders.
These days, kids today couldn't find a fucking ancient ship.
They couldn't find an ancient ship unless they were given the means to locate a knife that showed them the exact spot of it, unless it didn't sink any further into the ground. Kids back then, they had Moxie.
Yeah, absolutely. River Phoenix would have found this shit the old-fashioned way.
Oh, fuck yeah. I don't get that reference.
Don't you worry about it, mate.
Sweet.
Yeah, so they split up, and Daisy Star Wars gets attacked by the Preacher. And she actually finds a way to set fire to him, and this could be really actually quite confrontationally unpleasant, because I assume, because I don't really know her, but in any case, anyone setting fire to a guy and then being able to hear and see his dying thoughts as he burns to death is going to be pretty disturbing. Oh, he wanted to be set on fire. Huh.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Well.
Okay.
I mean, some people do, Paul. You're telling me that this guy didn't? You don't know. You don't know about him.
I don't know this guy. I don't know about any of these people. What is this? Meanwhile, Tom Holland is facing his nemesis because Mads Mikkelsenville is here with his many, many men.
Yeah.
So he sends them off.
Yeah. To go...
to mow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about how much they love mowing. Oh, God, but now Tom Holland, Spider-Man, threeman, is fighting a guy who has a very powerful noise abilities. This should be a very unusual and interesting brawl in the mud.
Yeah.
He does Loki him a couple of times by making an astral projection he charges at.
Yep.
But then Tom Holland, threeman, he summons his dead mum, which makes Mads forget how this thing he's really good at works.
Yeah. Well, because this is a secret. His secret. We're going to finally reveal what you are, and I tense up because I think, when was this book written? No, this is a recent book. This isn't going to be really dated. Oh, you're a coward. Okay, phew. Thank Christ. Thank Christ it wasn't anything really, really uncool. Like, if this was a film made in the 90s, it would have been, you're gay. And everybody would have had proper panic. But no,
that would definitely happen as recently as the 90s. You could have seen that in Naughty.
Oh, you definitely would. But no, he's a coward, and that makes him forget about his thought power.
Yeah.
Now everyone knows that he's a coward. Well, Tom Holland knows that he's a coward. Well, you knew that anyway.
And Daisy Ridley kills her fucking second person by shoving him off a bridge.
Yeah. That's what you learn in space, Paul. Murder. You're already a god.
In space, no one can hear you murder.
Not if you do it in space.
Many, many years, months, weeks later, Tom Holland's fine. He's recovered, and now there's another colony on this planet. Great. The end. Yeah. Rather suddenly.
Will the men be okay with women seeing their thoughts again? Probably.
They'll work it out. Paul, what did you think of Chaos Walking?
Well, Paul, yeah, as I hinted at earlier, I read when watching this film there was half an hour to go, and I said to Nell, I don't quite understand why this is this poorly reviewed. Maybe there'll be something in the ending. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And in the ending, I kind of lost interest and went, they lost focus a little bit by making it just about a fight between Tom Holland and Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes.
But then it ended, and I went, go on.
Oh, I'd just say, I think that might be where most of the reshoots happened, is that ending.
Yeah. Which is a shame. Because I was relatively on board, and then that finished, and I went, okay, well I'm not annoyed. I really liked Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley. I thought this was kind of fun, in a YA sort of way. And then I went and read the reviews and went, oh, am I an idiot? Oh, am I just a twat? Because everyone was really scathing about this.
Yeah. Yes, which is disappointing. I would say I can review this, as usual, we're reviewing this in two ways. As a bad movie, it's disappointing because it's middling. With scores that bad and reviews that scathing, I was really hoping for something, in general, in fact, our foray into the supposed worst films of 2021, I was really hoping we'd get, the next Battlefield Earth or something. And Deadly Illusions was a bit, but it wasn't even as fun as, similar movies we've covered before. This, Chaos Walking, it's not terrible. Or so bad it's good.
No.
So as a bad movie, it's a letdown. There's nothing eccentric or bizarrely inexplicable, or it's a little awkwardly edited, structurally speaking. And there's some stuff going on with the ending, but it's not.
I'll edit editing and edited together to make the word edited.
Perfect. But this isn't the Snowman. It's not a complete mess.
No,
so
it's not Doolittle.
Exactly. It's not clearly thrown together out of a grab bag of assorted shit.
Someone's dreams.
Yeah.
What would you say, like a 5 out of 10? 2.5 out of 5?
Yeah, that sounds about right, because it's a good movie. It has a good premise, of course, that it's inherited from the books, but the mind
It's a YA novel.
Yeah. But the mind-reading thing is mostly used for mildly comedic beats or exposition.
I got a lot of male shame and parallels with male mental health in there from the thoughts, and I did find it strangely parallel to the the horrible, like erroneous, erratic way my own brain works. It was something. No, it's not something that every character struggled with. A lot of people seem to be okay with controlling their thoughts.
Yeah, and it didn't lead to that much tension between the two, except that occasionally, he had romantic overtures to her that she didn't really reciprocate initially, which is very old-fashioned character dynamic there. There wasn't much in the way of... There's all sorts of things you could do there in terms of differing psychologies that they might have, and the insecurities that he might feel from not knowing what she's thinking at any given time. But
I mean, they did do that. He had plenty of moments where he was freaking out about that. Yeah.
Can you give an example?
So when... I can't remember the suggestion he makes, but she responds, she sort of naysays it, and as he's walking off in his head, he's catastrophizing what she thinks about her by saying, you're an idiot, Pete, or whatever his name is.
Oh, yeah, and he says, I didn't think that.
Yeah, and there are other things as well, and they address quite on the nose how weird he feels about not knowing what she thinks. He's like, oh.
I didn't ask for any of this, just so you know.
I didn't say you did.
Yeah, but your noise said it.
What, my noise?
Yeah. It's strange to see everything you're thinking.
It's strange for me, too, not knowing what's going on in your head. Not knowing what you're thinking. I mean, I don't know, you might not like my dog, or you want to hit me over the head with a rock or something.
It's there. I think it might have been a good opportunity to have another man there, because the men like more focus on a second guy, just to show maybe a difference in the thought patterns, not just have Mads Mikkelsen as the big bad who didn't show his noise. I felt Peter Parker's unease really strongly.
Okay.
And it was it's definitely resonates. I felt anyway.
Oh, well, that's good. I feel like I didn't feel that it led to any real drama between them. It gets referenced a few times, and yes, there's
true.
There are moments, but it didn't really necessarily shape the plot once they're together.
They've got a story to tell.
Well, indeed, yeah, and they do feel a bit swept along in it. And although I do like our two leads, I didn't get a huge amount of their charisma or chemistry from this.
Yeah.
In terms of their relationship together, I liked the world. I like the idea of this rugged kind of epic Western feel. With Hunger Games style hints at awesome technology. Hunger Games, I think, was quite important for the look of this film, in terms of the District 12 and how the capital looks. It's quite aesthetically important as a reference. I don't know. It sets itself up like the Defiant Ones. Two people lost in the wilderness with only each other, and they're not getting along very well, so they have to overcome their differences to survive. But it just felt a little insubstantial to me.
Yeah, sure. It probably needed a bit less plot and a bit more character, or it needed to be 20 minutes longer.
Yes, I mean, it is very short. Well, fairly short anyway.
Hour 50?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I'd have liked more character moments, certainly.
Yeah.
The movie does also have quite a few dropped plot threads, which even by the standards of the first installment of a trilogy should have had more closure. We don't see the aliens or the mayor's son in the final 2/3 of the movie, in spite of the fact they are set up as fairly important antagonists.
The last we see of the aliens, Tom Holland's having a fight with one, and Daisy Ridley screams at him to stop, and he stops, and the alien sort of gets up, looks at him, and then runs away, which was interesting, because I assume that's something that's explored really thoroughly in Patrick Ness's trilogy, or whatever.
I read the plot summary of the first book, which did flow a lot more naturally. There's better continuity in terms of the character's experience. Yeah. For example, there's something special about this guy. He discovers something, has to flee the town pursued by bad guy, and then he bumps into mysterious girl. There's a good escalation in terms of his experience, and it is darker as well. It basically ends with our heroes surrendering to the mayor. So, it ends on a really dark note, and he does kill the alien, partially as a result of his guilt for having not killed a member of the village earlier. He's feeling like his masculinity is under question, and so he kills the alien, and then feels very guilty about it. So, yeah, there's interesting stuff going on there.
Is this film just the first book, or is it the whole trilogy?
It's just the first book, from what I can see.
I wondered if they'd squeezed all three stories into one movie, because it kind of felt like that.
Yeah, it has a Last Airbender feel to it in that respect.
Yeah.
Well, not that bad, Jesus.
I think in Tom Hardy and Daisy Ridley's defense, they were individually charming, and it kind of there's like a Venn diagram there of their charms overlapping to form
Yeah.
like a base chemistry, which they didn't really have an opportunity to show, I guess.
No, what's an interesting
like anything
dynamic?
between the two of them.
It's an interesting dynamic, but not actually that unique, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we always have, in these movies, a main character who we get to see more of their internal process than the other. It's just an interesting aspect that the other character can hear that in a monologue as well. You know, there's stuff that could be done there. I just feel like it was underutilized, especially in the climax.
Yeah, the climax is really... it was the only time that I actually felt that cringy sense of, oh no, they're really just over-explaining and rushing all of this.
Yeah.
And it felt very... It was very dissatisfying, very unsatisfying, I think. Whereas everything else felt quite like natural for me and felt, you know, like I was having a good enough time. The end was really weightless.
Yeah. So let's pivot around. Let's think about... Okay, so it is certainly unique. It's a unique world. I feel like it could have done with being its own thing a bit more and leaning less heavily on the sort of established YA, you know, kind of pre-existing properties, and spent more time developing its characters. But what is there, as you correctly identify, is there are good elements there. There's good bones, I think, in terms of the story it's telling. And good opportunities that I feel like they could have capitalized on if they'd been a bit more adventurous. So I guess the lesson of Chaos Walking is, if you've got your premise, really lean into it. Like, if your premise is everybody can hear each other's thoughts, this needs to be the main thing that you're going to develop and think about throughout this entire movie.
They got
you really got to play
there.
with it. They got halfway, and that's not bad.
Better than Doolittle.
It's better than Doolittle, which had no idea or premise. Okay, let's quickfire. Quickfire. I enjoyed the visualization of the noise. It's a pretty constant presence in the movie, so it needs to be good. But this weird kind of greeny, purpley mist around everybody's heads that sort of amplifies as they're talking and can form shapes and images. That was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, to begin with, I thought, oh, this is overbearing, and then I realised that that's just how that's, you know, how unbidden, that's how thought works. It's usually unbidden. And it's, and you just sort of have to get used to it like everybody else. Well, speaking of, the first interaction Tom Holland has with the priest character, who I liked in general. I thought David Oyelowo was giving it both barrels, and actually, you know, later on he's obviously, he has PTSD and he's really suffering with his own guilt, and and after eventually, once I realised that, he's quite a tragic character. But anyway, they have a interaction at the beginning where he's trying to get Tom Holland to you know, be a man, just to not have to like hide his thoughts and things. And he doesn't. He just sort of tries to get out of this confrontation alive. And just before the priest leaves, he thinks the word weak, but he, you know, thinks it on purpose so Tom Holland can see it when he's been struggling so much with his own thoughts. And that was an effective diss.
Weak.
Ooh, was a diss.
Oh.
Dissed you, mate. What are you going to do about it, Spider-Man? Not much.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nice.
It's
I
going
love you,
to
Tom.
depend on his girlfriend, Daisy Star Wars, to come save him.
Yeah.
I like the quote at the opening, which explains the title of the film. I thought that was good. The idea of, if you could see each other's thoughts, then essentially you would just be walking around without a filter, and a man without a filter is just chaos walking.
Yeah.
That was, I like that. I think that's from the book.
Daisy Ridley just floating through a spaceship in space.
Yes.
Really fun. I like that. The freedom, I guess.
The zero-G effects looked really good when it was quiet. Once it started to crash and things needed to move quickly, I thought the CGI got a bit worse. But I liked the drifting. That was good.
Yeah.
Speaking of special effects, really good-looking asteroid belt at the beginning with Beltramy's music. I thought that was a good combination there.
Yeah, nice. Enjoyed that. When they were crashing through the ozone layer of this planet, there's, you know, loud space crashing, and then it cuts to a distant, like silent shot of the capsule sailing to ground. Through the sky, which is really nice. Yeah.
Oh, come on! I love Mads Mikkelsen's outfit.
That was my next one.
Yep. Come on now. He's a little gentleman of the West.
Yeah. got a big old fur thing across his shoulders. Nell looked at it for a second and went, "It's like something ate him, and he cut his way out of the middle of it."
But only halfway and then stopped.
Yeah, exactly. It's better than anything I've ever thought or observed. I think she should be on this show.
She should definitely be on the show, replacing both of us.
Yeah. Suddenly ABC funding. Tom Holland's on it.
BFI as well. She's interviewing Tom Holland. It's a living nightmare for us.
Can you imagine what would happen if someone hosted this? Like, not just hosting, because I don't want to put this all on you, but if someone replaced us and then suddenly the podcast had human warmth.
No, I would cast someone based entirely on their inability to deliver that book.
So no, wouldn't be ideal.
No. I want a cold, indifferent robot like us.
It's just us. We are just robot analogues of each other. Analogues.
Each.
Digitogs.
The twist is they're both the clone.
Yeah. Of each other. Yeah, but who was first? Never mind.
No, you don't get it. It's like chicken and egg, mate. It doesn't make any sense.
No pain, no gain. Look, I have a billion points of Tom Holland's thought that I found really funny, or just adorable. I think he said Space Girl once when he realized that she was a girl.
One of mine.
Holy shit, it's a girl. Space Girl.
Yeah, that was cute.
When he went into the room and saw her bag, he went, space bag.
Yeah.
And then the other one I've got here, and there are plenty of others, but this is all part of the same point for some reason. He's trying to hide the fact she's in the barn, I think, and he's like, think about something else.
Control your noise. Control your noise. Think of something different. Chores. My chores. I do my chores. I love my chores.
And it's just the line, I love my chores, which quite tickled me.
Yeah, it's cute.
Tom Holland.
I wrote this note, but now I can't think of what it applied to. Okay. I wrote, even though everybody can hear each other's thoughts, there's an etiquette. Now, I don't know what made me think that. Maybe I was noticing that people were frequently ignoring each other's stuff. Like maybe there's... Yep. Oh, no, maybe it's at the dinner scene where he sat with his two dads and there's still a sort of code of conduct. Even though people can hear each other and see the awful things they're thinking, you're expected to ignore it because you accept that we can't all help the things we think.
Yeah, it could be that. Another line...
Could I contact my ship there? I need to warn them.
Yeah. I have no idea. Shut up, Tom. Shut up, Tom.
I'll reverb what is the thought.
Yeah.
To make it clear.
Yeah. I can just sample the actual thing.
Oh, well, I mean, that would also work.
Oh. Well, I guess.
That's the way you want to live your life.
Crushes my dreams. Oh, it's pretty cool. The shot where she's riding off on a bike, a very, very slow bike. And then she drives it off a cliff. And before we cut to a wide, we're just in POV, sort of seeing over the handlebars as suddenly we're over a cliff and now soaring through the air. And that was pretty effective and quite cool. Before we cut to a CGI replica of Daisy Ridley crashing into the earth. But up until then, it was
a Nightmare on
cool
Elm Street dummy of Daisy Ridley.
An awkward shot mannequin they've not disguised at all, that they've chucked over a hedge.
You see the arms throwing her. I think we're in tandem, really, in terms of where we are in the plot, because my next one was the dying horse was really sad. The horse breaks its leg when it after it goes down the hill, and it's just whinnying in pain, and it's awful.
Yeah,
it's really sad.
Yeah. Well, shortly after that, I think it's a good conceit to keep them together. The idea that Tom Holland has a map to where they're going, but it's in his head.
Yeah.
And also a kind of insight into the idea that because everybody reads each other's thoughts, nobody needs to know how to read and write.
Yes.
Or draw anything, because, thoughts are also... Although that doesn't quite track, because you can see each other's thoughts. Does that mean everybody now has a photographic memory? Because you can just look at your own thought and be reminded of it?
No, I doubt that, but maybe he did have a photographic memory, and it's just that was fortunate. Because I'd be a mess. It would just be like a blob with the name with Far Branch in the middle of it.
Another opportunity of bad memories.
Yeah, that's true. I could have explored that. That would have been great. Been so horribly real for me. But I also took it the lack of literacy in kids of Prentisstown, just another sign of like populism having taken hold, and
another sign of the Mickleville,
because he burns all the books, doesn't he? So it's like a populist leader who's withholding knowledge. At this point in the film, I then think back to we're meant to assume that the Tom Holland's two dads were now an item, or were they just living together because it was convenient?
I don't know.
Because if so, points for unconventional.
Yeah, sure. Gotta love that.
Yeah.
Gotta love that some couples formed up.
Yeah.
But again, make it implicit. Don't just send out a tweet afterwards to say that they're together.
Yeah. It was.
I want to kiss. I want to kiss in Star Wars.
Yeah. Fucking.
Now, Disney.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, we'll give you a lesbian kiss at the end of one of the movies. How's that? Yeah, I mean, it's everyone loves lesbians already.
They're very popular everywhere now. Studies prove this. Come on. I found that the gender commentary was quite interesting, even if it did play into cliche a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, the idea that men are very transparent,
Yeah.
you can read them like a book just from looking at them. Women are mysterious and moody, and you never know what they're thinking. You know, lends its way into cliche, but it's still an interesting idea of just, if it were more arbitrary, if it was more just a sense of, oh, give half of this population this gift and the other half not, you know, that would be, you know, it'd be interesting to see the chaos that kind of sowed.
Yes.
But yeah, it was still interesting to sort of split it along gender lines.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would just love more exploration.
Exploration.
There's a moment when he goes to hunt for some food, and he being Tom Holland, and she's on the ground at the side of this lake, and from like we see her and Tom Holland kind of in the foreground, like almost off screen. And he just suddenly strips naked to get into the water, and I guess it's
no modesty.
Yeah, no modesty, and her face, like, which is at first shock and like morbid embarrassment, and then thinly veiled amusement of him doing this. It's a really nice progression.
Oh, that's good.
Of expression.
That's cool. Progression of expression. I love it.
It's your new album that you stole from Brian Eno.
I just stole all the sounds and renamed it.
You caught him in a bowl when he was in his studio and took him. Come back here, Paul, with more sounds. That's how Brian Eno sounds.
That's how he sounds. Oh, God. And he performs lyrics in all of his videos, but there's not always... Videos, that's what he makes. I'm tired. Anyway, I really like Daisy Ridley's outfit, but I'm not entirely sure of where it was supposed to have come from. She's in a kind of Lilu from the Fifth Element style experimental gear.
Series of white straps across her boobs and bum.
There is that, but also just very oddly coloured stuff that doesn't look like spacefaring gear.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, but it was very YA. I could see it lending itself to cosplayers.
Fan art. Yeah, definitely. Actually, the same thing of him hunting this alien thing. I like the far off shots of him rising out of the water and punching this mega squid. Obviously it was a CGI thing, but the distance, him off in the distance quite quietly, like being thrust out of the water as he's punching this thing for dear life. A nice little contrast.
Yes, it was fairly comic.
Yeah.
Right after Baxter the dog dies, I like the idea of grieving memories being physical that you can look at, but I would have liked more intrusive thoughts in that moment. Like maybe now he's really struggling to separate his memories of his dog from the image of it having been killed.
Yeah.
You know, that could have been really interesting, and just more sort of unwelcome thoughts coming into mind. That would have been interesting.
I thought you were going to say to be interspersed with him having sex with Daisy Ridley. I still can't stop fucking thinking about it. What's wrong with me?
Oh, God. What, is this why everyone hates me?
Nobody said that. They did, you stupid idiot.
See? That's another thing, is, I did like the idea of revisiting conversations they've had, and now, you know, she's got a different tone or something, and it would have... just little things I'd like to see more of.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, definitely.
But a quick fact.
I was definitely on the lookout for errant thoughts, you see, so I've thought about this a lot. Completely willingly, for a change. She says something about... Well, I don't know if she says something about being old or about being 64 years old. Oh, 64 because it took her... Because it took the ship 64 years to get to their planet.
Right.
And she says, do I look 64 or something? And he goes, oh, you don't look 64 years old. And then in his head, it just goes, blonde hair, pretty. And then there's a pause and he goes, please ignore that. I just like the idea that you would just have to acknowledge the treacherous dog thoughts. But like, yes, look, we all have these. It can't be helped.
Yeah.
I am sorry. We just have to try and ignore them together and know that just because I'm thinking them doesn't mean that I'm actively giving them life.
I like the fact that when he tries to jump and grab a ledge, he imagines himself failing to do it and falling to his death. That was quite good. Like that. That was inventive. That was a unique and creative way of utilizing this ability that they all have. Which
that was really cool.
Yeah.
I liked when he imagines kissing Daisy Ridley, and I was thinking how ridiculous it was that they'd be kissing so early into the film.
Yeah.
I had a very little, unless, microseconds before you hear Daisy Ridley go, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And then the cloud sort of dissipates to reveal Tom Holland behind, and just
was a good
pure
reveal.
shame on his face.
Yeah. I don't know if it's Mads or Riley or Ridley who does this, but when the mayor gets pushed off the precipice, somebody squeals amusingly. So whoever it is, I enjoyed that.
Great. The same dude who came out with the goofiest smile on his face in Dragonheart. He gets around. When Daisy Ridley tells Tom Holland her name, it's Viola, by the way. Tom Holland, his brain is just like rolling the word around for ages after he walks away, just going Viola, 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 Viola.
Yeah.
I'm Viola. I'm Viola. Viola.
Viola. Viola.
I'm Viola.
Viola. Viola.
And yeah, again, just really charming when Tom Holland's saying it.
It'd be quite good if he'd like gradually through the process of doing that started to stray away from what her name actually was, and then the next time he has to use it, it's just not fucking right.
Yeah.
There's a really good shot when they're trying to trek through a swamp and there are mountains in the distance, and it looked very, it looked very good, very clean.
Ooh,
and such.
great.
Very, very Prometheus, had a Ridley Scott kind of sleekness to the whole thing.
Lovely. Farm Branch, just like as they were walking there, just looked like it was nice English countryside.
And then you get there and realise it's southern USA.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I've never been, and I'm not part of any fringe group, so I'd probably be accepted. They'd probably see me as a little effeminate, but
Can you fuck this chicken to death? Then you're okay with me.
Yeah. For you, good. Lucky for me, he doesn't know the reasons I did it. So Tom Holland's grudging emotion, Daisy Ridley reading his mum's journal. It reminded me a bit of, in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, when they have the witch trial.
Yeah.
When one of the guys says something really shyly, and then like the weird, like unbidden joy on his face, like a child, like a toddler.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that. Like he was being gruff about it because he couldn't read.
Right.
And he was really reluctant to sort of share this emotion with Daisy Ridley. And then when she starts reading it, you can see this joy overcoming his gruffness, like regardless of what he wants. It was really sweet. And then obviously all the terrible stuff happens, and that's terrible. But again, hey, Tom Holland's a really good actor.
Yeah, he is. He's really good.
The memory Tom Holland has of his dead dog, Manchi, flashbacks to the dog, is Manchi chasing his tail in front of him, and he just keeps going around in this circle. And I found that pretty heartbreaking. That was really sad.
Oh.
Got the hanging from a beam one. And then finally I liked the very similar to Force Awakens moment. Tom Holland finds Manchi barking at the door in Far Branch and goes, "Oh no, what's that boy? Daisy Ridley's in trouble. I better save her." And he bursts in, and the guy is already tied up, and she's just like packing and ready to go.
Yeah.
She's fine. That's cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and that's it.
Okay. Brilliant. Good stuff. Well, that's all we've got to say about Chaos Walking. But what about the sheer insanity that is the OG team? They can hear each other's thoughts.
Shit, that's what we mean by insane. Whenever we say this film was insane, what I meant is that it could hear my thoughts.
It's an odd and upsetting peculiarity of our fan base that as soon as you become a fan of ours, a true fan, you will hear the thoughts of everyone else who's in the fan base.
It's been pretty strange. There's a big acclimatization period.
Yeah.
But we haven't had any complaints. And
no
we
complaints.
Know because as established, no secrets.
Funneling right into our brains.
Starting off then with the OG team at the Sweet Sweet Patreon space.
Love those patrons.
Put the post on there, and we had a couple of responses.
Ooh.
So fantastic, fucking incredible patron Mark Reed said, I kind of liked it. I found the idea of memory and grief playing out in front of you a bit unsettling.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I always find Daisy Ridley to just be exactly the same in everything. It never feels like she's a different character. Also, I don't think in echoes, so I really didn't see the need for it to be part of the noise. which is true. But,
I do. It's very disturbing. No, maybe she hasn't.
Cavern in that brain.
Maybe she hasn't demonstrated the greatest range in her fairly few projects that she's been in, but I always find her to be an endearing and fairly expressive presence in the things that she's in.
Yeah, I think that's it. The charm sort of overrides it all.
Not very well served in this, I would say, compared to like the sequel, trilogy.
First two movies.
The first two movies of that trilogy. Yeah, that's what I meant. But yeah, I need to come up with a new phrase for that duo.
Yeah. The good ones. Memory and grief playing out in front of you. Kind of unsettling, definitely.
Very much so, yeah.
Fucking stellar Adonis, Matthew Antonio, said that Tom Holland is a charming scamp.
Oh, he is.
The odd couple dynamic he had with his own mind was tremendously endearing at times.
That's true,
agreed.
actually. There is kind of It's kind of is a trio, isn't it? The three of them travelling together. That is an interesting idea. I'd like to have seen that explored more fully.
Yeah. He's a man. He's a treacherous thought cycle. How will they ever get on? They're pissed they don't. That's it.
Thanks, OG Team.
I love you. Hey. No, I love you, really. Really. They're both thoughts. Oh my God, my thought has a thought.
Oh no, it's evolving.
Shit. It's evolving to be more human.
Before your brain becomes self-aware, let's talk about the one better thing. The one better thing.
I mean, I can go first. It's very, very quick.
Okay.
I think I don't know YA adaptations aren't everybody's thing, but if they are, give this a go. I think it's worth it. I think it's got worth. What?
Oh, this. Right, okay, sorry, I thought you were building up the tension.
Oh.
This is controversial,
Gangster
but
number
I think
one.
this is going to... that YA novel.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I think so. Yeah, give it a go. It doesn't wear its YA roots very heavily on its sleeve. There's no, like, love triangle or, incredibly twee moments, but...
heavy themes,
it's...
young male and female leads.
That's true.
Warnings of populism. It's getting there.
That's good stuff. It is that, and there are some cliched elements, but yeah, it's nice enough to check out. Well, you could watch Rob Reiner's classic American movie Stand By Me, and therefore understand my reference earlier, where I referenced River Phoenix. Or you could watch Dread in 3D, or just regularly Dread. The reason I go to Dread, and I think I might have recommended it before, but there's a particular subplot in Dread which I really like, which is the idea that Dread has a partner with him, Judge Anderson, who is a psychic and doesn't have complete control over those powers, and so sometimes reads the thoughts of people around her without realizing it, or accidentally projects her thoughts without intending to. There's some really interesting stuff going on with her character, and I like that. And I feel like there's other stuff too with sort of bad people with telepathy, like people doing it badly, but I think you've got some stuff in the X-Men movies here and there. But yeah, I think Dredd handled it really well.
Yeah, cool.
So I'd recommend that.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's just about going to do it for the one better thing. The one better thing. So, how can people find out more about this crazy experiment that's still happening, apparently?
Oh, I tell you. All the footnotes, OGT Pod at Twitter and Facebook. You can send peer reviews to ogtpod@gmail.com. And ultimately, if you want the real down low, the real down,
word on the
down
street.
Deep and dirty, down and low, and down and sweet and low.
Yeah.
Then you can listen to us on Spotify now if that's your thing. But the the juiciest cutlet of this peer review. I'm really mixing analogies here. You want to get your lips around that.
Yep, get the word on the cutlet.
We have a Patreon where for as little as $1 a month you get exclusive access to exclusive content exclusively.
Yep.
This
all exclusive, all new, all wet.
Paul exclusive, Paul wet, Paul new. This last week we released the beginning of our new Storytime saga, Tom Hanks's Perfect World, which is turning out very well. It's a consistent stream of lyrical nonsense.
Yep.
And something that rhymes with nonsense.
Yep. Stream of conscious, just baffling bullshit. Love it.
Yes. For all you folks, some lovely new contents. Yeah. So,
are you content with that?
I don't understand the question.
Fair enough.
We're also releasing this week a sneak peek preview to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 5 Halloween Uncut Raw and in Charge. Yeah, I'm a poet. And what else was I gonna say? Yeah, so that's gonna be great. I'm fucking hating every minute of this franchise.
Yay!
Let me tell you that, folks at home. This is gonna be this is going to be a fresh new take on Halloween from Paul Goodman. Just how anxious is he getting? Find out on Patreon and then later in the real space. Thanks to Matthew Antonio, aforementioned fucking Adonis. Let me touch him. Increasing his pledge. We are $2 away from a D&D roulette one-shot.
Oh, come on. Sign up for $2 and listen to us and some of our previous guests get together in order to have a crazy go of D&D roulette.
Crazy
It's
TTRPG
the weirdest game you've ever heard of, and it's going to happen to you.
I heard about it from an American that I met on a plane, and he sounded like the best/worst DM of all time. He punished metagaming, and he gave me this crazy idea, and we've got some crazy friends and some crazy ideas, and we're not afraid to show them.
Absolutely.
So thanks everyone who's already pledged, and if two of you gave us a buckaroo,
just a buck each.
piece, ooh, TNT RPG madness.
It would be lit. I'm Paul Lit.
I'm Plit.
And remember, the one good thing about finding the plits in your life and watching Chaos Walking is it's not a bad idea. Yeah, not a bad idea. And might lead you to imagine a better film from it.
Yay.